We're seeing first-round interviews happen this year earlier than we've ever seen them before, and the turnaround time between landing an interview invite and being called in for the interview is shorter than it's ever been. That means you need to start preparing now. Join the August cohort of Black Belt. In Black Belt, you get 8 one-on-one, 1-hour coaching sessions with an MBB coach who will put together a personalized plan to help you prepare for interviews. In addition, they'll assign you online homework you can do in between the live sessions to make sure you're staying on track and on plan. Finally, as a Black Belt in the August cohort, you'll get access to 3 exclusive group trainings focused on networking, the fit interview, case frameworks, and math. In these sessions, you'll get the extra help you need to become a top performer come interview time. You can learn more via the link in the show notes. Join August Black Belt today.
Are round 1 interviews easier than round 2 interviews? Are round 2 interviews harder than round 1 interviews? The answer might surprise you, but I unpack it in this very short episode where we talk about how you can adequately prepare for the case interview process. Are round 2 case interviews harder than round 1? The answer might surprise you on the surface. The answer is that the case itself is not harder. The case itself does not test more challenging math. The case itself does not test more challenging concepts. There are not kinds of cases that are reserved for the second round interview. And there are not things like charts or graphs that only show up in the second round interview. All of those things you could find in a first round interview. But if the case itself isn't harder, it doesn't mean that the interview itself is not harder. And in fact, round 2 interviews are significantly harder than round 1 interviews, but it's because of the interviewer, not because of the case. Let me explain. First of all, there are 3 things that are different between round 1 and round 2 case expectations. The first is time. You are given 5 extra minutes to complete your case on average in the second round. But because they're expecting that everyone is on point, super focused, and ready to go, they're expecting that you're going to complete about 1/3 extra of the in that extra only 5 minutes of time. So they're expecting that you're going to do, let's call it 10 minutes of extra work in the 5 minutes that you would otherwise need. That's valuable. That's helpful. That's super important. So you need to be faster because you have less time to do overall a lot more inside the case. The second piece is that you need to be more focused. What's one of the ways that you solve a longer session of a case with more involved math that goes together? Well, you can be more focused on what you're solving for. So better structuring up front, better hypothesis usage, and better clarity when you go through a math problem to see what the insights are going to help you stay focused in the second round. And finally, your interviewer changes from somebody who is usually a middle manager or an advanced analyst in the first round to somebody who is usually a senior partner, somebody much more senior than you in the final round. They are prone to increasing pushback based on their capability assessment of you. So if early in the case they think you're doing really well, they're likely to push back on you significantly for future parts of the case. This is really exciting because being ready for more pushback means that you can have more engagement, more active conversation, but you have to go back to point 1, know that you have less time to do more. And to point 2, you're not meant to lose focus in the midst of that conversation. So if you can balance all 3 things, less time for more, also more focus and a demand for that, and then finally more pushback from a more senior interviewer, you're going to be ready for the second round interview. What's important about this is that in the way that we coach at Management Consulted, you are always being coached for the second round interview. We're making the assumption that you will succeed in the first round if you're ready already for the second round. So we don't like to leave things to chance later on. We over prepare you for the first round to nearly guarantee your success. And then we really leave it up to you to do your artful thing in the final round. If you're interested in having help, either through drills and experiences through our digital offerings, which are in the show notes, or through one-on-one sessions, we would love to help you and are happy to answer questions before you book. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. We're excited to work with you, and we're excited to support you on your journey to becoming amazing at case interviews. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that you do reach out if you have questions or want help with your case interview. You can, again, find those links in the show notes. But we also want you to follow us on LinkedIn, where we provide a lot of announcements about free events and other great content that we put out. And you can make sure that you review this podcast and follow it for more fun episodes of Strategy Simplified. Thanks for joining.